Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we've got a brand new interview with Rosamund Pike, and I believe also with the showrunner Rafe Judkins on the Sedai, and it's an explained video from IGN. So yeah, let's give it a watch.
Be strong.
We're starting up there again, aren't we?
The last battle is coming. The only thing that matters is what you do.
Sedai have the ability to channel and wield the One Power, and they have access to a huge amount of energy that they train for years in the White Tower to use. And you have to learn as an Aes Sedai not to take too much, although it's sort of the sweetest pleasure, the feeling of channeling. It can overwhelm you, and one of the challenges is to learn to control it and to learn to control your behavior around it so that you can use it and direct it at will.
Very good explanation. If anybody at all out there had any worry about Rosamund not understanding what an Aes Sedai is, what the One Power is, and how to use it, and the trepidations that come with it, I think throughout all these sorts of interviews we've gotten and the articles, that should be just completely out the window. And yeah, I'm totally on board with her. She is now my headcanon of Moiraine. Whenever I will go back and start reading the books, which will probably be sometime this month before the start of the first episode. But yeah, really good. I'm really happy that she got everything spot on, and it looks like we're in for a treat with her as Moiraine. Not that I had any worries that she wouldn't be a fantastic Moiraine.
We protect the world.
There's a lot of talk about Aes Sedai in the world of the Wheel of Time. There are many people who've heard of Aes Sedai and have varying conceptions of what they are. People believe they're monsters, people believe they're to be feared, people to believe they're in league with the Dark One. Some people believe they're a force for good, and all those rumours abound. And certainly, for instance, people in the Two Rivers, at the point that Moiraine shows up, they've never actually met an Aes Sedai.
When Moiraine and Lan come to the Two Rivers, they're met with quite some hostility.
You can see that.
And Egwene, you can see, is she's quite tempted by her, and she's drawn to her and curious about the Aes Sedai and her power. And Egwene and Moiraine have a beautiful relationship where it's very private and they teach each other, and she's like a mentor and a mothering figure.
Ooh, I like that. So yeah, we've seen this in the clips and the trailers that we've gotten so far of when Moiraine and Lan arrive in the Two Rivers, and in the Rhine Spring in particular. They are very much the outsiders in town, and so yeah, they're not given at all the sort of probably welcome they maybe slightly would have expected. It's very frosty, very, who are you? What are you doing here? So yeah, that was interesting. Of course, the biggest point from that small portion of the Madeleine speaking about their introduction was, of course, the kind of relationship that Moiraine and Egwene have with one another, especially early on in the book. And obviously that's going to be now portrayed on the show as well. So that's really cool to hear. It's something I think we all expected. Moiraine was going to be a sort of mother figure for Egwene, especially when it comes to the One Power and, teaching her how to, tap into it and how to use it and to channel like we see in the books. What else? Yeah, it's just a really cool thing to hear, and one I'm sure we'll all be looking forward to, especially if they do kind of those scenes in the first book where Moiraine starts to teach Egwene how to use the One Power, and she starts to what was it, a little flame in her hand, I believe, off the top of my head. It was something like that. I believe it's when maybe Rand was eavesdropping as well in the first book. Yeah, we've got Zoë Robins next.
They have a lot of power, and they're very feared. It's a kind of an exclusive group of women, and you have to be invited in.
I suppose that's true in one sense, but also not in the other, because really it's exclusive to the fact that you have to be a woman who can channel, and then to push that a little bit further, you have to become a novice, accepted, and then you finally become an Aes Sedai if you've passed all the tests that are required of you as a woman to join the White Tower to a degree. So I understand what Zoe meant, but also it's a little bit wrong with saying, to me at least personally, that it's an exclusive club. I think it is, but it also isn't, and I think you guys know what I mean by that. It's just the fact of, if you can't do the one thing that the White Tower is there to govern over and to teach and have a sort of hierarchy and a structure, you're really not going to be in much use. And so you would understand why you wouldn't necessarily be invited in to the White Tower if you cannot channel. So we've got Josha now.
They have lots of structure, they have a lot of rules, and I think that's for the better sake. With men, I think there can be ego and stuff, and I think the Aes Sedai are doing, in the world of the Wheel of Time, they're doing better than the men.
It's true, it's very much, when it comes to the Wheel of Time, I would say the women, for the most part, and in general, they are the governors of the world. They're the ones with the power, in terms of obviously the one power, but also if you look at the structures of all the countries in the world itself, most of them are governed over by a woman, a queen. So yeah, that's true.
Whatever happens now, there's no turning back.
To me, I think it's very interesting to have these women with so much power, and it's not, there's so many shows right now that are being developed and that are coming out that are just like, wouldn't it be crazy if women had all the power? And I like that the Wheel of Time never approaches it in that way. The Wheel of Time is always just, women are born with power. Here's the world. Because the story is also about balance, as so many of the stories are in the Wheel of Time. And I think that's a very interesting conversation to have with gender right now. And I don't think the Wheel of Time paints everything with a rosy brush. I think that it does a very complicated, nuanced approach to what happens with any gender being in power. You want to tell a story where there's a multiplicity of women who are incredible and powerful and change and move the story, not because they're the exception to the rule. They are the rule in the Wheel of Time.
That's quite deep from Rafe there. But yeah, just to go on one thing you mentioned about loads of shows being in production and how it's the case of, I wonder how cool it would be if the women were in charge. But with the Wheel of Time, they are in charge. I do like that, and it is what sets the Wheel of Time apart. There is no sort of fight or uphill battle or struggle for the women to gain the control. It's very much, they're the ones in the power, they're the ones in the hot seat, so to speak. Sorry. And nobody bats an eyelid at it, nobody makes a comment or remarks on that fact. It's just very much how the world is. And I like that approach to the world itself, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that in the show. It's not going to be a thing of, the women are in charge, why are they in charge, the men should be in charge, kind of how it is in this moment in time. And so yeah, it just makes it feel a lot more natural to me, at least, in the way they, if you want to say, sell the fact that the women are in charge, because you don't necessarily or even need to sell the fact they are in charge. They just are in charge. They are there. They're just the ones in power. And there's nothing to be said about that fact. It is what it is at that point. That's how the story is being written by Robert Jordan, and that's how it's going to be told on the show.
I think in a time now where we're really looking at strong female protagonists in film and television, that this will really resonate with audiences, because this is what people want to see, and women in charge and women who are powerful and empowering other women especially. And that is something that I have been really drawn to, that it's a society and a network that pull other women up.
It's true, talking about the White Tower again, and how it pretty much, if you become an Aes Sedai, you are kind of looked upon by the people that know what the Aes Sedai are and what they're about, as kind of that next level, kind of up from just a regular person, I suppose, in the world. you've got that, you know, added level of authority and respect that naturally comes from being a Sedai and associated with them and being a new White Tower. And yeah, we are seeing a lot of shows. Look at Black Widow when that came out. I've always loved Black Widow. So yeah, let's move on.
I love having this woman who's enigmatic and also, you know, unleashes this tremendous power when she chooses.
Right, so yeah, that was interesting. I love the fact, and I didn't not expect this, but Rosamund is very much, or Rosamund, I always get that wrong, is very much on the ball when it comes to knowing her character, knowing the One Power, how the channeling works, the structure of the White Tower, and just everything everybody said and was speaking about in that interview was very much on point. Everything was true to what's in the books and how the world is governed and the story and the plots that are coming out of that structure that's in the books. That's really cool to see. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this IGN First series that's going to be continuing throughout the month of November leading up to the show's debut. So yeah, thanks for watching all the video. If you've made it this far, leave a like if you've enjoyed it, and have any comments, leave down below as well. And I'll catch you guys all in the next video.